which is a word that first appeared in the 17th century, comes from a French word called briller, which means to shine. Brilliance, as I define it, it is your insight, it is your potential, it is your genius, it is your it factor, it is your point of differentiation, and when you are operating in your brilliance, you are operating in flow. When you are operating in flow, it's not about what you're getting, paycheck, it's about what you're becoming. When you operate in your brilliance, you literally live from the inside out. And it doesn't matter what is happening around you, because congruently, you're operating in your brilliance. Rabbi Harold Kushner, who wrote the book, What Matters the Most in Life, Rabbi teaches that when you operate in emotional congruence, everything that you think, everything that you say, everything that you feel, you're in full alignment. But what happens, and I'm paraphrasing now, when you're not operating in emotional congruence, or what I call your brilliance, there is a split in your soul. That means you're pulled in a million different directions. So here's what I've discovered. Brilliance, your insight, your potential, your genius, your it factor. Brilliance is released. Don't miss this. This is very important. Brilliance is released in an environment. Pause, hold the phone. Let's do a quick unscientific poll. By show of hands, how many of you realize you spend more time at work than you do at home? Okay, put your hands down. So, brilliance, as I have discovered in the last decade, working with 500 to almost 1,000 organizations, I have discovered brilliance is released in an environment where you are celebrated rather than tolerated. When I am in an environment that celebrates me rather than tolerates me, that environment, work, invites me to be a vitamin, not just an aspirin. And when I understand how to take my potential, my insight, my genius, my education, my experiences, my know-how, my failures, my successes, and release it in this environment, then ultimately, when you show up to work tomorrow, oh brilliant one, you do know that you're sitting next to a brilliant one. Just look at your neighbor and say, good morning, oh brilliant one. Somebody said, I'm glad you finally recognized. When you show up tomorrow, you realize that you're not there to make an impression, you're there to leave an imprint. And when you understand how to leave an imprint, then you understand ultimately that you are a storyteller. Every single day, oh brilliant one, you are telling a story about what is most important to you. And it is that story that speaks. 25 years ago, Mom and Dad loaded up the family station wagon and drove me and my brother from Buffalo, New York, down to Atlanta, Georgia. Go Bills! This could be the year. Anybody from Buffalo? Buffalo! So, people from Buffalo love Buffalo. So they dropped me off at college, and they called at the end of my freshman year at Morehouse, and they said, we don't have the money to send you back to Morehouse for your sophomore year, nor do we have money to bring you back home to Buffalo, but we do love you. I think y'all realize the brother didn't feel the love. So I dropped out of school, moved into a drug-infested community in the southwest part of Atlanta, Georgia, only had a mattress on the floor, bright green beanbag from the 70s, a couple of milk crates turned over with a black and white TV on top of it, with a hanger hanging out of the back of the TV with a piece of aluminum foil wrapped around the hanger. How many have a visual so far? All right, I wasn't poor, I was tall. That's 2 levels below. And I mean, brother was so broke, I walked past the bank and tripped the alarm, you know? And it was probably just one of the saddest times in my life. 19, and I am as lost as a goose in a blizzard, okay? So I'm working at this hotel, Days Inn downtown, where they left the light on for me. And I'm making a whopping $5.10 an hour. On public transportation, not a lot of options. And I said to myself, I can choose to stay in the story, or I can do something differently. Well, back during that time, the Ritz-Carlton had just come online, and I was offered a job to go in the Ritz-Carlton, but I was born in the ghetto of Buffalo, New York. I didn't have a concept of what a Ritz-Carlton was. So even though Ritz offered me the job, I turned it down and stayed at the Days Inn because that was my comfort level. Here's what I discovered, oh brilliant storyteller. When you know it's time for you to release your brilliance and take it to another level, number one, you will come to a place where you become uncomfortable being comfortable. And when you reach that point, that means the universe is inviting you to take it to another level. In fact, everybody raise your right hand. Raise your right hand with me. Raise your right hand. And I want you to say, take it to another level.
Take it to another level.
All right, I know we're just now getting to know each other, so we're going to do it again, and I want you to see some neck action. I want you to feel like I'm getting ready to set it off up in here, all right? On the count of three, we're going to say, take it to another level. 1, 2, 3.
Take it to another level.
That's what I'm talking about. So, when you reach that point, you say, you know what? I'm going to take it to another level. But here's the other thing I recognize as a storyteller during that time. It's not who you are that holds you back from being brilliant. It's who you think you're not that holds you back from being brilliant.